Hey there, all you queens and cryptids, and welcome to Queer and Loathing, the only podcast served with a side of fries and a fountain drink. I'm your host, Brett Bodie, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts.
I'm Mel.
I'm Samantha.
Yeah, I can't escape them.
Oh.
They're always here. And
I actually only exist when this podcast is happening.
Yeah.
I just snap into existence and back out.
It is a little disconcerting, but I'm getting used to it.
Well, I am your tulpa,
Yes.
so.
One of my several, apparently, that I've created. So today we're talking about Shaun of the Dead, the 2004, right?
Yes.
Zombie rom-com, as they called it back in the day.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Zombie romantic comedy. Zombie romantic comedy.
Which is our
Sorry.
our second in a row. Because
true.
last week we covered Lisa Frankenstein, which is also a rom-com.
Yeah, good point.
Check it out if you want.
Yeah.
The episode of our podcast and maybe the movie.
But yeah, so this one was the film debut, I'm pretty sure,
Of Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright and possibly Simon Pegg.
Or at least the first time anybody noticed him.
Yeah, because they made Spaced together, which was a TV show that I guess laid a lot of the groundwork for their later collaborations. And yeah, this was sort of their big arrival onto the scene because they co-wrote the script together and then Edgar Wright directed.
And it really arrived on the scene.
It really did. This was a very big movie.
I don't know if I can think of a British comedy that's maybe more mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Monty Python movies, but that's for a very specific kind of dork.
Mhm.
Whereas this has, I think, it just was mass appeal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I guess let's talk about our history with this movie. Sam, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. I saw it at some point in high school. I got the DVD. I enjoyed it. I remember when I first saw it, and I still haven't seen it in a decade until this week. So, yeah, that's my history.
What a rich history it is.
It's maybe my third or fourth time watching it.
Wow. Makes you think.
Yeah. What about you, Mel?
I watched it when it came out, and I've been watching it ever since. I like Edgar Wright movies. I haven't seen them all, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie. I wouldn't say it's my favorite zombie movie, but it's my favorite zombie comedy movie. And
Yeah.
I've seen it a lot, enough times to that I couldn't count it. If it's on, I'll watch it, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Brett?
Thank you. Yeah, so I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I saw it, I think, as soon as it was out on DVD because I was so excited for it. And it is a Bodie family favorite.
Oh.
We have watched this movie a ton of times. I absolutely love this movie. I've seen it a bajillion times. I gave it 5 stars, and I was like, let's see if it holds up. And I was like, it needs 6 stars. I just love it. It's not perfect, but again, it's perfect to me.
Yeah.
Sam, you didn't say how you feel about this
Oh,
movie.
I was just giving history.
Yeah, give us the new thoughts.
I would not say loved, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, if it were on or somebody wanted to see it, I'd probably see it with them, but it's probably not what I would pick to watch.
It's no Lisa Frankenstein.
It's no Lisa Frankenstein. It's not at all. It's no... Shit, it's no long
I almost thought you were going to say
legs.
it's
I was
no
gonna say other
Schindler's
things.
List. I thought that's what you were about
No
to say.
Schindler's List. Yeah, I definitely was viewing it with a different perspective this time. High school me versus now me, I'm oh, some things I thought were cool. I see them in a different way in this view.
I do
Interesting.
too. That's something that has happened quite a few times, not just on this podcast, but, I'm now in my mid-30s. I can say it.
That's brave.
Oh, yeah,
I
you
know.
are mid-30s. Sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry.
I'm not there till next year.
Sorry about your age, bitch.
You're all gonna join me soon enough. But rewatching stuff that was super formative because I think when you're in middle school is probably not when you first start having favorite movies, because that happens when you're much younger, but when you start understanding what makes movies feel good or like bad. You can start seeing when movies are like poorly done.
Yeah.
And you can start seeing the craft. And so movies that I thought were super funny when I was like a preteen or a teenager, I do not have the same taste now.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that still hold up for me, or I'm like, ugh, like it's a little bit, problematic, but I still like it.
Mm-hmm.
This one it totally works for me, but it is funny how differently I see the character of Shaun.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a
Exactly.
boring 30-year-old, and he's like, I think he's like 30.
He's 29.
He's
He
29.
said he's 29.
He's
That's
like
right.
a baby.
Horrified me.
It's horrifying. Genuinely, anytime a character that I saw as like an old person when I was a kid that I am now older than in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
Brett, you've mentioned this before, is like every time you watch these movies, you just get older and the characters stay the same
Yes.
age. You mentioned that on a
I
podcast.
did.
Not fair.
It's not fair. It's cruel.
But it is
and it
true.
just continuously happens.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, seeing like baby Simon Pegg being like, I'm 29, and I'm like, I remember. I remember being 29.
I remember being younger than 29, looking for like
I remember
that
being
ahead
like
of me.
14 or whatever watching this,
Yeah.
and now having such a different perspective. So there are definitely some things that I laugh at differently now, or there are things that I find funnier now that maybe I didn't get when I was younger, and things that maybe are like especially the Nick Frost character who's such a buffoon. It's like that character is so made for 14-year-olds. I still think he's funny, but in a different way.
I feel like before I was so more understanding of Simon Pegg's character.
What's
and
his
this
name?
time,
Simon Pegg's character.
Is
His
he
name is
Shaun?
Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, that's
Is he
right.
Shaun?
Mr. of the Dead.
Yes.
Simon Pegg of the Dead. And then this time I'm more like, grow up, dude. And all your family members aren't quite as annoying, and your girlfriend are not quite as annoying as you seem to say they are. So,
Well, and it's funny because we talk about, in this podcast, we talked about this a lot last episode too. It's like the POV character, like the perspective you're getting. This character, it's like he's just beleaguered by all these people who have expectations of him.
bare
Yes.
minimum expectations.
They're
They
so
sure are.
minimal.
The bar is quite low for this man.
And it's like watching it as an adult, it's like the way that I see like Bill Nighy's character.
Yeah.
Or like his, his girlfriend, or like the wanker roommate,
Yeah,
where I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, that poor man living with these
I thought-
disgusting slobs.
Yeah, I thought the same thing about
It's just
him.
like so funny, this perspective shift that you have when it's like literally the first time I watched this, I was like 14. It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
I am now 34.
It is crazy
God
that the
help
movie
me.
is so old, in that like it still feels, I mean, it's of its time, but it still feels like fresh to me.
I thought the comedy in this was really refreshing, as old as it was, because it's not that Whedon-esque quip that's invaded every single like action blockbuster movie. It's not the sort of endless yammering that you see that got really big with like The Hangover and Bridesmaids, that of its time, those were funny. Like I still think, Bridesmaids is funny, but the evil that it spawned was not worth it,
I agree with you, Mel, and I would say that rather than have the characters themselves be super clever, instead the characters
filmmaking-
are annoying and the filmmaking is super clever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I love.
The biggest joker in this is the camera work.
Yes.
Which I think is so great.
Oh.
Like if you just like pay attention to the framing, the way the camera pans, the timing of some of the dialogue, and like
I agree. Well, I watched this and I was like, wow, no wonder like Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg became such huge Hollywood heavyweights. Because you watch this movie and you're like, yeah, like they've got it.
for this to be
Camera
like
work is so good, like it's so tight. The performance is so good by Simon Pegg.
it's so, again, I'll just say refreshing. As much as this is something I've been watching for 20 years, it was just nice to be like, oh yeah, things used to be like clever and not just an ad lib nightmare.
Yeah, this is the opposite of an ad-lib nightmare. It is so tightly scripted. I doubt there was like any ad-libbing. Because
Yeah.
every line is like a callback to another line or foreshadowing for something.
100%.
And I like that.
Me too.
I like it when it's done well. and not overdone,
Yeah.
which I'm saying this was not.
Sure.
This was the appropriate amount.
Yeah.
Well, you're
I gotcha.
our hater this episode.
I wouldn't say I
it.
hated it. I just didn't love it. I would
But
say I
that
definitely
makes
liked
you
it.
the hater of the
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we
Okay.
both love it.
Right, and we'll get you there. Just feel the hate flow through you.
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm good.
So the people who listen to this podcast, I am assuming everyone has seen this. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's a zombie movie, and there are zombie moments, but it's not scary. It's
Yeah.
a lot of times anytime something is threatening to get really serious, it doesn't give the sadness. Like I would say one moment where there's actual sadness that's given time to breathe. But the rest of the movie, as you said, Brett, it's like fairly frenetic. Its pacing is pretty quick. The jokes are pretty nonstop.
Mhm.
There's constant callbacks, which I think does help keep you engaged, right? Because it's making you actually pay attention to what's happening. It doesn't feel like
Yeah.
anyone's just saying shit, right? Like everything that's being said matters.
Yes.
Including news reports.
Oh, it's so funny.
Just, you have to pay attention to every moment because you're getting
Yeah.
information at all times.
That's true.
And
Even
that
when the
really
characters-
tickled me this time.
Yeah, especially when the
characters
characters
are
are not receiving
No!
that information at all.
No, which was something I did love about this.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
so you
you're
have a
just
whole
like,
list in.
do you not hear?
Yes, I have like a whole list in my notes of like all the early signs that Shaun missed.
Shaun just walking to the store and not seeing.
That's one of my favorite scenes in like
It is
anything.
great.
His second trip to the
I think
store.
both trips.
Yes,
They're
yes.
so good.
So we'll just
Oh,
so again, we're gonna spoil this old ass movie. It's 20 years old. Go see it if you haven't.
You've had time.
Yeah.
You've had plenty of time. So now is too late. We're gonna spoil it. So yeah, we start out the movie with Shaun, who's a fucking loser. This guy kind of sucks.
Yes.
I will say he's not like a fucking loser, but I would say he has so much potential. Like, he has a place to live. He has a job. He's not a great job, but he has a job.
He
has a girlfriend. He has a live-in roommate friend.
He has
who's
a
not supposed to live there.
comparison. He has a comparison loser right next to him.
Yes.
That makes him look
Yes.
a lot
Exactly.
better.
That's so true.
Like, he does have so much, and he's not quite a loser. He's just being a loser.
He's choosing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
He's choosing a loser lifestyle.
Yes.
I agree.
And you see, and he's just sort of bopping through life, just totally clueless.
Yes.
And it's great that he's the hero of this movie because he's not that competent. He's kind of gets them into trouble several times, but
he's not the most incompetent
Exactly.
either. Yes.
He's surrounded by, unfortunately for him, British people. So
Completely surrounded.
trigger warning: this movie is chock full of British people.
Oh god.
And what's worse than British people?
British food.
zombies.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I love bangers and mash. That's British, right?
Yes.
Thank
If it
you.
sounds that stupid, yes, it is.
I just always feel inappropriate saying it, so I just wanted to check.
I like cheesy beans on toast, but they eat
I
some-
resign. I can't be on a podcast with people like this. With British food apologists.
So we start out. They're in the Winchester, which is sort of this like pivotal spot
Yes.
in the
it's
movie.
Their home pub, basically.
Which is funny because it's not like super walking distance. Like it kind of is because they walk home, but it's not super close,
Yeah.
which is important.
Yes.
Um,
It's in the neighborhood, but it's not next door at all.
It's
Yeah.
not next door. And he has a girlfriend who's like wants him to be essentially a different person than he is. Like
Well, she wants him to like be a person.
I think
like
he
he's
wants-
not quite
exactly.
there, and yeah, she wants him to be one.
Like, not, oh, we're going to have date night at the pub. We're going to do this. We go to the pub every night. Can
Yeah,
you
and
think
she-
of something else, or do I need to think of something else?
well, he's sort of like
Right.
arrested development-y in the sense that it's like this is a totally fine identity to have when you're 24 or 23, you know, where you just go to the bar, where you're a regular, like you hang out you play video games with your loser friend, and like you have a sort of dead-end job that you hate, like valid. But I think society kind of expects at 29 to be a little bit more serious.
Well, and I would say that like it's
something.
almost that like Shaun is just like his main problem is like he's just so apathetic.
Yeah.
It's almost like and part of his maturing, because he definitely does like kind of grow up a bit like throughout the movie, but it's almost like this is even a fine life to have if it's what brings you fulfillment and satisfaction.
Right.
But it obviously doesn't. If he were actively choosing this life and enjoying it, then that could be fine too. I mean, I'm sure Liz, his girlfriend, wouldn't stick around for that, but like,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
it's not like the wrong thing to do, but like it's so wrong for him because obviously it's just,
look,
he's just wasting his life and not even.
if I could spend every moment at the bar with my friends and play video games, I would. So I'm not really judging him in that way, right?
The bar part isn't the issue.
But I also think they're
Lack of motivation. Well, honestly,
And care for others.
if he
Care
wanted
for
to do that, it
others.
is care for others. Because I was like, if he wants to do that, fine. I think Liz should just be like, I'm out. And then also the mom needs some better expectations. Like when stepdad's showing up to go, could you at least bring her some flowers? She clearly loves you so much.
Yeah.
You know, and Shaun kind of hears it, but is like, whatever. Or, you know, he does make an effort at some point.
Yeah,
But
well,
he's just a self-centered child.
Yeah.
And
is part of
also,
his thing.
the movie is so masterful in the way that it, like, Shaun's like journey is like he's a zombie at the beginning of the movie, as are many people that the movie shows us. He is just like a zombie because he's not actively choosing anything. He's just going about his routine, shambling through his life without a thought for anyone else or even really himself.
I love the opener where it just shows British people are zombies.
Yes.
yeah.
It's like people just shambling around,
It's like if they could look at us
staring,
now.
Right.
slack-jawed at things.
Uh-huh.
The first shambling, groaning thing we see is him when he's waking up. And then it shows us his routine, which I think is really smart.
Yeah.
Because it shows you every day, this is his routine. And then in the background that he is kind of noticing but not following up on,
Yeah.
there's weird shit happening.
Yeah, it's not that because he like reads a newspaper headline or, you know, like he sees certain weird things, but it just doesn't cut
there's a
through
man.
the fog.
There's a man in the park outside attacking a pigeon. That was
Yeah.
weird.
Doing an Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like if it's not going to have any impact on his current life and what he's currently doing, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And he kind of tries at his job, you know, like he has the 17-year-old shitty employees that just don't care.
That scene is so painful to me because I'm like, they're awful and disrespectful, but Shaun, you don't carry yourself as somebody worthy of respect, and you
Right.
don't live as someone worthy of respect. So yes, they're treating you horribly, but what do you expect?
Also, it's a shitty job
Yeah.
Yeah.
that these like young people have. Like,
And Shaun's not even like the manager, but since the manager called in sick, since he's a
Presumably
senior.
Other people. They
Right.
said several people called
yeah.
out.
presumably because they got zombified.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think is so funny.
Because they call it a super flu at one point in like
Yeah.
on a newspaper or something. But yeah, like he's not even a like assistant manager, but since he's like the senior team member, he gets to do the pre-shift team meeting or whatever.
And presumably it's because he's probably been working there since he was that age, and
Yeah.
now he's just the oldest person.
That's definitely how it reads. Like he
Yeah.
got a job and it's just convenient to stay at it.
Yep.
Yeah. Because he doesn't have ambitions beyond that, which again, I kind of appreciate.
It's fine.
It's just the life that he wants does not align with the actual ambitions he has.
That's exactly, yeah.
He doesn't want to be the person that he is required to be to have like the girlfriend and the relationship with his mom and all that stuff that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like he doesn't want to see his mom. It's that he doesn't want to like do the work it takes to put into like a relationship.
Not convenient.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we see him kind of go through his routine where he goes to like the corner store and he gets the Coke, and then it's
And
like
every single thing in that whole trip is like mirrored exactly by his next
right.
trip.
So we see him go through his first trip, and then the next day when it's been after he went to the Winchester again, and they see that because that's when they see like the zombie outside, right? Because things are still kind of normal.
Yeah.
And it's the next
When he
day
and Ed
when,
are like, they're like drunk and walking home, and they're like,
so funny.
they think the zombie's like singing the song along with them, but he's just being a zombie.
Yeah, they're like singing along to the groaning.
Yeah.
Sorry, that part really did crack me.
Oh,
It is
so
so
funny.
funny. Like, I'm telling you, this is like an actual like laugh out loud movie.
Yeah,
for me.
well, like on his first trip to the grocery store, like he's passed by a jogger, but the next trip he's passed by someone running
for their life.
from a zombie. But it's as if it were the same thing to him. He doesn't
Yeah.
realize it's just like, yep. And there's the jogger. I know there's the homeless man who asks me for change, but it's like that person is a zombie now. But Shaun doesn't notice because he doesn't pay attention. He slips in a puddle of blood.
Yeah.
in the grocery
We never
store.
even see the puddle of blood.
No,
we
we
just
don't.
know what it is.
Yeah, because there's like bloody handprints on the
That he doesn't notice.
that he doesn't notice.
And what is the store clerk zombieing after him lightly in the background as he exits?
We don't
And
even
he
see
doesn't
him.
even-
I think he
we
does.
like
No,
see
I
the
think he's,
shadow of
like,
him.
yeah,
we
he's,
see
like, in the way
someone
back.
back there, but
I
So
assume
we don't know.
it's
If,
I guess we
assume
can
it's him.
assume it's him. And it's so funny that it's like he goes there and back with the Cornetto ice cream.
Yes.
And
there's
the
it's a
Coke.
full zombie outbreak, and
Yes.
he just doesn't notice at all.
And I just like would love to compare that to what I think is the amazing opening to the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was kind of thinking the very beginning of 28 Days Later.
Oh,
where he wakes
another
up, but
another good one. But like I love
that's
the,
a good comparison.
the beginning of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, which I actually like that movie, but
I
especially
do too, but the opening is like
so
actually
good.
amazing.
Zack Snyder knows how to open a movie. He doesn't always know how to follow through. But the beginning of that movie is so good because it's just pure chaos. It's like people running around screaming, things are on fire. It's just an absolute shit show.
It's harrowing.
And this one, it's harrowing and it's the same.
Yeah.
But Shaun is
Shaun doesn't
oblivious.
notice, yeah.
He doesn't notice.
And it's us screaming at him, or at least me screaming at him.
Pay attention to anything in
One
your
thing.
entire life.
One thing.
One thing, even kind of.
He's not
For
even
a
the one
second.
who notices they have a zombie in their backyard.
Oh yeah, it's Ed.
There's a girl in the
Lou's
garden
roommate.
or whatever.
Yeah,
That's what he
I
says.
think that's what he says.
And it's just so funny. So yeah, like in the comedic timing throughout, it's like there's the TV is on and it's doing the sort of Austin Powers thing where it's like every channel they switch it to, it gives you more information
And
as
it
the
continues
audience.
the same sentence, even if it's like, now it's a nature documentary, now it's a soap opera, now it's a news report.
And so you as the audience are getting that information, but it's also telling us he's not even listening, which is so clever to show that like, oh, he's just swapping the channels. But we are getting enough exposition to kind of understand what it was.
Yes.
Which is, funny enough, like they make a reference to 28 Days Later at the end.
Oh, they do.
Because they're like, it wasn't a rage monkey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
They literally say that.
They do.
It made me
Shots
laugh.
fired at 28 Days Later.
It's also funny because his character growth, he goes from a zombie to just being like affirmed that that's the life he wants. And it's his girlfriend who ends up changing.
I guess that's kind of true.
Because like at the end, he's playing video games in the shack with Ed. He's sitting on the couch and it's like his girlfriend is like, what, Liz, right?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, we'll go to the Winchester later. And it's and you know, she smokes a cigarette by the end.
That's true.
And it's like, oh, she just became like she grew, quote unquote, to become more like him.
Yeah.
And so his happy ending is that he's living the exact same life that he had at the beginning, but he's more like happy.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, I think it's that maybe like back to what I said of like, now he's actively choosing that life.
Yes.
And at least like, because he seems a lot more present, like even in that tiny conversation with Liz at the end, where like at the very beginning at the pub, she's talking to him and he's not listening at all.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily say there's a... I mean, I guess there is growth, but I was kind of like this time around, I was like, oh, it takes I guess we don't say zombies. He doesn't want us to say zombies.
Don't say the Z-word.
The Z-word.
Don't say the Z word. That did tickle me every time. Don't say the Z word, but it took a full outbreak to get some effort. Maybe misguided effort. Because did we need to go to the pub?
No, the pub was
But
a
I did
terrible
appreciate-
decision.
It was.
I did very much appreciate that. He goes, oh, shit's going down. Let me get my mom. Let me get my girlfriend.
I agree.
Stepdad's maybe. I mean, he's already gone. We know he got bit. And it's BFF. So
Dick's mom's like, well, they were a bit bitey.
she's so cute. But yeah, I'm not fully thrilled about the growth because it did feel very much on the girlfriend's end, her kind of adapting to him. But I will say she does get a little more out of it because he is making more effort. But I'm also like,
He's barely making that
Yeah,
effort.
I'm like, if that were still what I ended up with, I'd still be like, I could do better and do more for myself.
Yeah. And so can she.
And I think he could do better. Like, I still think he can do better. Like, he rose to the occasion when shit went down, but I'm like, we're seeing not too long after, and I'm like, how far is he going to slip back?
Look, I love a beer. I love a banger and mash. I love I love a mushy pea. Actually, I've never eaten that.
Ugh.
And it kind of looks horrendous.
Oh.
But you know what? I bet I could actually add some seasoning to it and make it okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I like a shepherd's pie. Like,
I do actually
there
like
are
a
things
shepherd's
that are
pie.
not,
That's
like,
good.
it's not irredeemable. Like, there is some British food that is okay. And pub food, is good. And you can have your beer and play video games. Like, I like that life.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be limited to that life.
Yeah.
And with him, Liz is now living that life. He's never going to remember to make the reservation. It's never made clear at the end. Like, because there's a time, like, halfway through, like, his big moment where he's like, he, like, throws the cigarettes away and gets the Diet Coke. That's, like, his effort, right? But then by the end, she's like, haha, like, here's a cigarette. And it's like, girl, you're enabling him.
Yep.
But I guess.
Or is she accepting him?
Maybe.
I think it's a
Maybe
lot more
both.
enablement was where I stand. Because I'm like,
So you wouldn't date Shaun?
no.
Oh, well,
No, I probably would have, and then been like, this is not long-term
This
stuff.
is the guy you
Yeah.
date
This
when
is
you
not.
are 22.
Yeah.
He's fine for if you're 22. But since she is presumably about the same age as him, it's like, I don't know. Well,
But also, yes, do love a pub. Do love fun. But also responsibilities are there, and showing up for other people is a thing. So.
But in fairness, many people are zombies. There's no one else left in Shaun's life that he has any accountability to, because everyone is now dead.
yes.
So can they do better? They might be some of the only people who aren't zombies left.
Well,
It's
there's
them and
enough.
Yvonne.
And also, I'm like, he's sure to, he did not luck out by losing people, but he lessened the number of people who would hold him accountable, which must, on some level for him, be a little freeing. So, I don't know.
Interesting.
I was like, he doesn't have to show up for his mom because she's gone.
Right.
He doesn't have to make amends with his stepdad because he's gone.
His totally good stepdad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was maybe the biggest change I had, which is very minor, but just like, because I always felt sympathetic to the stepdad, but I felt it took me until like their final like scene in the car to be like, oh, well, stepdad wasn't such a bad guy. But this time, when the stepdad comes in to visit Shaun at work, I remember thinking like, wow, like give me a break, like get off my case, old man. And this one I'm like, it's so innocuous and also nice. He's literally trying to help Shaun
Yeah.
by saying, remember, we have plans, like you're coming to visit your mother tomorrow. Remember to bring her flowers. And then he says something nice. I don't remember what it was, but it was just like, okay, like have a good day. We're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah.
He says we are looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like his demeanor isn't the most warm, but I'm like, he's being helpful and nice to you right now, Shaun.
I don't think there's a British person that age that could be like warmer as
Yeah.
he's just British. I think he's just sort of that archetype
Yeah.
of the sort of like stiff upper lip,
Yeah, exactly.
like older white British guy
Yeah, played by Bill Nighy,
who
a treasure.
we
Yeah.
we
Love
love.
him, yep.
This is the second movie that we've covered on this podcast that has featured him, and he was great in both of them.
That's true, because he was in The First Omen.
He was.
Thank you, because I was like, what movie?
I could see you were lost, Sam, so.
Oh, I always clock
I don't
him.
have a great memory.
I love him so much. I think he is so great. And
Me
he's
too.
so good in this too. I think all the performances were pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Especially the ones that required the heavy lifting of, like, the big emotional moments. Like, Simon Pegg, just excellent. Regardless of what you think about the character, I'm like, I just thought he portrayed him so well. Like, he can do the comedy, he can do the drama. Bill Nighy with his, like, big scene.
The mom who's in the later seasons of Downton Abbey.
Yeah, and Liz, the girlfriend.
Oh,
Like,
she's
they all,
good.
yeah.
Okay. Are we ready for an ad break?
Oh, I thought you said, are you ready to talk about when there was the N-word in this movie?
Also, my ad break.
Oh, okay.
You want to do that first?
No,
Oh, no,
it's
it's
part
the
of it.
same thing.
Okay,
It's part
great.
of it.
Oh,
Well, it's actually more of a PSA
Oh, okay.
for 2004, and then I thought about it and I went, also for 2024. You know what? If you are not black, you just don't need to say the N-word. If it ends with an A, if it ends in an neither one. You just don't need to do it.
What if it ends in an X?
No.
Oh. Well, I'm trying to be inclusive. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not PC and woke. I don't know.
No. Will I give you a break, actor, if it was written for you?
I think I just scored Mel.
Sorry, please continue.
Oh my god.
So, if you're a writer who wrote it and you're not black, maybe reconsider putting that in your script. I get the comedic effect, and it didn't land for me personally.
Can you reveal what it was in this movie?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to talk about it later.
Oh.
This is a nice
Talk
little...
about it now.
Okay, so it's just, can we guess who said it?
Nick Frost.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will say, I don't remember, having seen this movie so many times, I don't remember it in this. But I am also...
You may when I describe the scene.
Okay.
But, yeah. So, let me read this Reddit. Why did Nick Frost say the N-word when he picked them up outside the flat? So that's what he did. I think when he got him on the car, out of the car, and he goes something like, "What up?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Something up. And da-da-da. To be clear, yes, I am black, but I have come to terms with the fact saying the N-word it does not come out of my mouth, right? So I just don't say it. I'm allowed to say it, and I choose not to. Would have appreciated it if Nick Frost didn't say it, but I get the comedic effect. Were the others cringing in reaction? Absolutely. Appropriate response. I don't know what white people say together when they're alone. Because when white people see me, they go, that one's not white. So,
why do you make such intense eye contact
with both of you. No, it's with both of you. Mostly because you're the two people in this room.
Yeah. Oh, stop staring at the ghost.
I'll look off to the side. But yeah, just my little PSA. So...
Okay.
Whether it's
I need
ending
to
with
change
an
my
A,
notes for
an
the rest of
an A, an or an X. Do not say
Thank
any
you
version
for
of the
clarifying.
N-word.
I understand now.
Unless you're black, then do what you want.
Noted.
Thank you for the PSA, and we'll see you all after the break.
So say it now.
No!
It's your last chance.
It's your last chance. Get it out of your system.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed spending your break not saying the N-word.
And as a woke white person, I'm going to do what we do best and center myself in this conversation. So
I'm so sorry, but I thought you were saying, and send her to Liberia. That's what I heard in my head. But continue.
There's still time. We could.
yeah,
No thanks.
I want to apologize on behalf of goofy, clownish white people from 2004
Yeah.
who are just slaves to their id and just shout dumb shit.
They do.
I want to apologize on behalf of the whites.
Thank you.
To
I accept
everybody.
your apology.
No,
Thank you.
Yeah, that went directly to
Yeah,
Brett. And I went,
it did.
I'm sorry, who are you? But no, Sam, because we were talking a bit about this more, because Brett and I, one, didn't immediately clock that the N-word was used in this movie.
Yes.
But automatically knew who it would be, who
Right.
used it. And that it is part of that Nick Frost's his character.
Of guy who sucks.
Of guy who sucks. And would confidently say the N-word in a way that would be seen as extremely comedic in 2004, even though it's already at that time being portrayed as gauche, right?
Yeah.
Just not societally okay to do. And this is just a movie that is incredibly white, and all the characters are white. And so, Sam, you're right.
thank you.
And I know
I
you
can't wait to replay that.
you needed to hear it from me. a white person.
Thank you. Don't cut this, Brett.
I won't. This is good.
But I do think we should talk about Ed's character. Because I do think, like,
Sure.
again, this is a character that if you were 14 and you're edgy, this is, like, I don't know. Like, I didn't see that character as, he's always a buffoon. Literally, they have him make, like, he does an orangutan impression that's, like, kind of bad. Like, on purpose. Like, he's supposed to be, like, a goofy sort of dancing monkey.
Yes.
Right? But I do also think there are things that he says that pushes the line when, again, Sam being right, said, no one writing this movie probably ever spent time around black people or was black.
Got any input.
Got any input from black people.
It gave me a little peek into the window of, oh, this is what the goofballs are doing when black people aren't around.
Yeah. I mean, probably.
In a different country 2 decades ago.
Yeah, but still, it's still being said.
Mm-hmm.
So
It is.
And it's a bummer.
It is. But they're not but to that, but just like, how much do you let a character in a movie, right, act like an asshole and a dumbass?
Also, pause because it's in my head. So when you say in a different country, I do understand this movie's there. But yeah, I know place is different, but I do have the same expectations here. If not, nope, all more on the same level standard. So sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You hold us to British standards.
Beyond.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would never hold us down to British standards, Brett.
We can do better.
Above.
I mean, there are like slurs that are different in different countries, and I would say the N-word probably holds way more negative weight here, where we had chattel slavery.
That's true, but I would say that it's still
bad.
universally considered.
I was gonna say, there's like nowhere where it's okay.
And that's also why I say non-black people. So I'm not saying just white people.
Sure.
I focused in on it because of the movie, but I mean, like when, what is her name? Gina Rodriguez was like rapping and dropped the N-word and got canceled for a minute. I was like, that's weird.
It is weird.
And I got it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because it's not like, because we were talking, I think, earlier today about the C word.
Yes.
And how cunt is not really that strong of a slur or like a bad word in other countries. Like in Australia or
and England, it's like, no, it's not something that someone would probably say to a school teacher, but it's colloquialized to the point
that it's like fuck or something. Where
exactly.
It's like it's unprofessional, or like you shouldn't say it in school, but it's fine. But I think that's like the N-word is always unacceptable in every country. It's not like, I'm not saying to the like extreme extent. I don't know. I just don't think anyone like in the past like 30 years, hopefully like has learned that that's okay to say like in public.
I'm getting we won't bring the politics into it, but I feel like people are getting a little looser.
Well, there was that guy who
what was his name?
I don't remember his name, but he's the guy who writes for like the National Review or something. Let me double check before I get
because he recently
libelous.
said it on that the Megyn Kelly show. Yeah,
who she had a blackface scandal.
Sure did.
Yes. So it was a guy who's like, I think the editor-in-chief or the CEO or something of the National Review, which is like a conservative rag. And he claims that he misspoke, but he just said the N-word. And she didn't even react. And it's like, wow.
I can't say I'm shocked that she didn't
but
react, but
I was talking about this with a friend of mine where we both grew up sort of like edgy, sort of like edgelord white teenagers. And we said there's basically like two kinds of white people who say the N-word, and it's the ones that are like legitimately just like casually racist, and then the edgelords who are saying it to be like funny or edgy. So like the Nick Frost from this movie kind of character. And it's always a bad idea no matter what, because once that word is in your lexicon, it can slip out.
Yeah, and like it always is racist to say it.
Yes, well, it's never okay.
Right.
I'm just saying that there's like this movie,
I see what you're
I
saying.
don't think that it being used in this movie had anything to do with black people.
Exactly.
I don't think it was even thought about.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, he's basically like doing a Malibu's Most Wanted. Like, it's funny when goofy white people say the N-word because they're not cool and they're not, like, he's just not black. And he's like doofy. So, like, it's played as a joke and sort of as, like, an edgy joke because there's a lot of, like, edgy jokes in this movie. But no, once it's something that you say at all, it's there. And it's not even, hey, white people, listen to me. Listen to me. Come closer. Come closer to your phone or computer or wherever you're listening to this.
Park your car.
I'm leaning in.
When you're listening to your rap songs alone in the car, don't say it.
I have tips.
Oh, great.
So like I said, I don't say the N-word, but I can never tell if this is worse. But I always put my name. I always put Sam, because but I also do that with all songs.
I do baby.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always work.
My husband says person.
Okay. I don't want to tell you guys.
No, funny. And also to be clear, I have no control over what comes out of your mouth. But if you say the N-word in front of me, we're going to have a fucking problem. Period.
But I'm
not looking at either of you. I'm looking at the ghost in this room.
But what I'm saying, ghost in this room, is that if you're saying, well, I would never say it in that context or in front of a black person, you don't want to say it at all.
Yeah.
Because once it's something that you think is okay to say, it's gonna come out. You're gonna say it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be rapping along, and it's gonna come out. So start just saying Sam.
Just say Sam.
I think baby is good, especially if it's a woman rapping, because usually that word is being used in the place of a man they're talking about. So baby kind of works.
And also I meant, you don't have to say Sam. You can just choose your
No, just say Sam. No, just say Sam. And think about Sam.
Oh, no.
Regardless of the context of the song.
Think about me and consider me always.
I think person is a bad one. Just because that's
redacted.
Awkward as fuck. But
he makes it almost cool.
Okay.
Cooler than if he said the N-word.
Well, there you go. I agree with that.
And it's been established in that movie that it is uncool.
True. I will give them that. They weren't trying to say, ooh, it's funny. It was definitely cringe. So
what do you think? Okay, I have not to totally derail this, but what do you think about something like Django Unchained, where it's problematic Quentin Tarantino making a movie where the people saying it are despicable racists and it's not pro-racist?
I hate hearing it, but I get it.
Yeah.
It's also, Quentin Tarantino is borderline.
There's so many things you could say, and I would probably agree.
Borderline personality disorder.
Borderline a human. Borderline a deranged fetishist. Borderline.
He's just hovering between that line. I think he's just,
I think he likes to say the word.
Oh, yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a complicated one, because I do like a lot of his work.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Jackie Brown is one of my favorite movies.
The
N-word is in it a lot. But
and that's probably why I get tired is my thing. I get tired. So, yeah, Django Unchained is a good example. And I did enjoy that movie, but I'm also on a break from black people torture porn, so...
Well, that one is going to be taken off the shelf for a minute, then.
Yeah, maybe don't watch Jackie Brown. Although there's some fun stuff in that, too, but...
yeah, it's a good call. It is everywhere, and it is something I was thinking about earlier today is I hated reading, Huckleberry Finn out loud in English class. Hated it. Hated it. Also, I think I may have been the only black person in my class. So, extra hated it.
Was it at our high school?
Absolutely.
We went to, not what I would call an extremely white high school, but we went to an extremely not black high school.
Yeah. And
a lot of South Asians, a lot of Jews, which I know we're white, but we're asterisk white. Yeah. We can't say the word either, though, guys. We're we're the most not allowed.
Asterisk or not, just don't.
Yeah, we're asterisk white, but we're definitely, unless you are a Jew of color.
Yeah.
But I also just shouldn't be telling people who isn't allowed to say the word. But if you look like me, you're not allowed to say it.
And if you look like me, you can.
Yeah. So we've cleared it up. We
solved it, guys.
That was our recurring segment, the N-word corner.
N-word corner.
Look forward to making the introduction for this segment.
N-word corner.
Yeah. And if you don't know, now you know.
Samantha.
But okay, so going back to sort of the edgelord comedy in this movie.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about
We're
Ed.
leaving the N-word corner and we're entering the Ed corner.
The Nick.
The Edward corner.
Nick Frost corner.
The Edward corner. So, yes, Nick Frost character. So there's things, attention to detail, I do like about this character. He inexplicably has a chunk of his hair shaved off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he sure does.
To me,
Why?
that
explained,
speaks
right?
volumes.
It just is.
Well, it means he's cutting his own hair and he's not trying that hard.
Yeah, or like he lost a bet at the pub. Like, so it just means...
Or someone fell asleep and they shaved his head as a joke. Or
Yes,
something.
exactly.
Or he started and stopped.
Yeah, and
There's
all of
so many-
those seem very much like things that he would do.
Yes, and
As this horrible buffoon.
he is a buffoon. He's an orangutan person.
Yes.
He...
I have a section in my notes called Characters Depicted as Being Wrong, and Ed is at the very top.
Yeah.
And I think I reordered it because I was like, Ed needs to be at the top because he's the most wrong.
He is.
That I did say that, so Ed was childhood best friends with Shaun, and they're still best friends and like hang out all the time and live together, even though Ed's like, what, not on the lease and not supposed to be living there at all?
Did they say he just like stayed over once and just kind of stayed?
Yes.
Oh my God.
But he's that kind of guy. There are guys like that where it's like, hey, can I crash on your couch? And then 3 months later, your other roommate is like, I'm going to kill everybody.
Yes, and he should.
He should.
Yeah, but I said that it is sweet how much Shaun values his childhood friend, but it still speaks so poorly of like Shaun's judgment. Not that, because it's like you can value your friend and spend time with them while not enabling them to be like a horrible leech and also just like
Correct.
a menace to society and everyone around him.
And boundaries are great.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, it'd be nice if like, it's nice to keep in touch with your childhood friends. Sometimes even if they are problematic and bad, you can still like, but you have to reckon with that. You have to understand that like, this is a bad person and a bad influence and I can't be around them much. I still have that love, but they can't just like sleep on my couch for a year.
Yeah, you have to lock him in the shed.
You have
So,
to
like,
lock them in the shed.
It still goes with boundaries take effort.
Yes. Right.
Continuous effort.
Yeah, continuous effort.
Mm-hmm.
And he never really has to do that in the movie. I mean, at least he doesn't keep him chained in the living room at the end.
That's true. Puts him in the
Those are
shed,
Liz's boundaries.
Yeah,
to be
Liz-
honest.
I
Liz
bet.
could only handle so much.
which is none, because I'm sure Liz has never been in that shed.
Oh, no.
Nor should she ever go to that shed.
But yeah, he's like buffoonish, he's disgusting. There's like a running joke where he says, like the only times he ever says he's sorry is when he's just done a terrible fart.
Well, I cried.
Which is
at
funny.
it.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
He'll say, I'm sorry, Shaun. And Sean's like, it's okay. And he says, no, I'm sorry, Shaun. With the most significant eye contact.
And he says,
then,
I'll stop doing it when you stop laughing.
Yeah.
Which is cute. I do like,
very sweet at
as
the
much
end.
as it's not a healthy relationship and Ed is taking advantage of Shaun, I do actually like movies where men are depicted as allowing to have friends they care about.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
even in the 2000s, like one thing this movie does that is actually kind of progressive. So as much as it's bad for
no,
using the
it's-
N-word, it's on the naughty list for that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we can all agree. Even if, Sam is now not so sure.
Well, it's one moment, so I'm not going to say the whole movie is bad, but it is on a noted list.
Yeah.
There's an asterisk.
There's an asterisk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like what I really love about this movie is that at one point someone says to him, I have a quote here. I think it's Shaun where he's like, he's not my boyfriend. And then someone says,
Ed says,
Ed says, he throws him a beer, might be a bit warm, the cooler's off, and he goes, thanks, babe. And it's like,
Oh.
it's cute. And they're
I
they
did
say
think that
they
was
love
sweet.
each other. He's like, I love you. And then Ed's like, gay. And
right,
it's like,
which I think is funny, and like
Yeah.
I do that, so I don't know. I'm not.
no, I like it.
Yeah.
To me, it read as like almost a commentary on the times where it's like, oh, like at one point,
Like any expression of like male affection is like
at one point,
gay.
Ed calls Shaun gay for caring about his girlfriend.
Yes.
Like, it's just so funny to me.
Yeah,
it's
me
like
too.
the meme where it's like, fellas, is it gay to like take
Care
your
about your
girl?
girlfriend.
Yeah, to care about your girlfriend, to take your girlfriend out on your anniversary that you've been dating for 3 years.
And as a gay, yes, it is.
It is gay. Okay.
Oh.
Good to know.
I can confirm.
And that was the gay corner.
Yes.
Yay.
Gay!
Oh yeah. Another difference I drew between Ed and Shaun is it kind of ties back to what I said earlier in that Ed is actively choosing and is happy with his terrible slacker lifestyle, and it does make him happy in a way that Shaun is not. And like Shaun wants
Yeah.
more, like
Yeah.
needs more, and it's like, but like. Because Shaun and Ed are not the same. Like, someone can do that, have that lifestyle and be happy, but Shaun's not that person. Ed is. I thought that was interesting, that, like, kind of apathy. Like, Ed's not apathetic about his life. Ed's loving it. He's loving being a piece of shit who sleeps on the couch.
At no point does Ed ever say that he wants a job or a girlfriend or
No.
relationships with anyone outside of maybe Shaun.
just
No, he
even
gets,
Shaun.
he gets the happiest ending of anyone versus what he was doing before.
He's
That's
still
exactly what he
he's
wanted.
doing
Yeah.
the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He has someone who, comes to him and brings him snacks and
Hangs out. Plays
hangs
video
out and
games.
plays
Yeah.
video
I
games
will
with him.
say,
I love that.
my favorite moment is that the very end where Shaun comes in and Ed is like going to bite Shaun's arm, and Shaun's like, "No!" And I'm like, "Yeah."
I did think that
And
was
it's like,
very funny.
okay, I guess I won't. I do love you as much as I can think.
But it's the ending he gets because, I don't know. I think it's like for a movie that is this funny and it kills that many main characters, it still manages to not be like a massive bummer.
That's
Yeah.
true. Even though there are emotional moments, it's not overall a bummer.
I mean, there's really one. There's a couple
I
emotional
think there's
moments.
at least two.
There's when the stepdad dies and then when the mom dies.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the stepdad one happens so quickly that it
Well, 'cause
doesn't.
And you're
There is
anticipating-
a joke right after, but somehow it doesn't undercut the emotional moment because it's about something else. The comedy is not that they were emotional. It's that, like, Philip's been bitten. He's a zombie. He's locked in the car. They've escaped. No one has been bitten by him. And the mom, Barbara, his wife, is like, "Isn't Philip coming with us?" Like, and Sean's like, "No, Mom. Like, there's nothing left of the man you knew before."
And he just turns off
And he
the
turns
music.
off the music that he has to turn it off earlier.
It's like, well, let's go.
And it is so funny because, like, to me, it doesn't intercut the emotionality of the scene. If anything, it's like almost, even though it's funny, it's almost more tragic because maybe there is the tiniest bit of him still left.
Well,
And
in
it
this
sets us up for
movie-
Ed.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
saying,
it does.
in this
Yeah.
movie, in this universe, it does seem that the people go about their routines, like Dawn of the Dead,
Mhm.
in that way, where it's like the people who want to play video games all day, they might still do that. The people who hate loud music will still do that.
Yeah.
You know? But the scene with the mom, I think,
That one is the one that the biggest gut punch for sure. It's so
Yeah.
sad.
and that's like so I was watching with my husband and he was saying like, oh, it's like kind of dragging at this point. And I'm like, yeah, but like it's kind of, because he says it kind of like drags once they're at the pub. And it's like, well, there's moments of that, but it's kind of the point.
Yeah, well, I would say that's almost where it shifts into like being almost like an out and out drama for a minute. So it certainly drags in terms of like frequency of jokes. That drops way off in that part, even though there's still great moments like the
Don't Stop Me Now.
kill the queen, yeah. Or like he's flipping the fuses and the lights are coming on. There's like all the zombies right outside the door. Sorry, the Z-words. Can I say the Z-word as a non-zombie, Sam?
You can say whatever you want.
I get what he's saying. I don't agree because I'm, at least personally, I'm so invested in the drama with obviously with his mom, but also with Liz's friends.
Yeah.
Because what's his name is
Oh,
like
yeah.
Like David.
the worst.
or-
Yeah, David.
Also,
He's just like a terrible person.
And I love how Sean's just calling him out the whole time. I'm like, good for you, Shaun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's, for someone who, like, is so limited on his amount of effort, he's not afraid to call whatever the guy's name out on his bullshit.
You're right.
Be like, we all know you love Liz.
Yeah. And he's right because even
His girlfriend.
David's girlfriend, Diane,
Yes,
knows
yeah.
that she's like, I know that's what happened and I've made my peace with that, David. Why can't you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love that. Like, Because it's also like, she's not stupid and she's not fucking blind. Like, she knows, but she's accepted it.
I'm like, girl, get out, but
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he is terrible.
yeah.
I think
Because
this,
he's trying to, like, shoot Shaun's mom, which
Yeah.
she does need to be dealt with. Like, she is turning into a zombie. But it's like, you got to talk this out for a minute. You got to let Shaun, like, prepare.
Yeah.
You can't just, like, shoot her.
I
right
also
now.
think it's just a really important moment where it does show some growth from Shaun. Like, he is going to take care of this thing that he needs to do. It's his
Yes.
responsibility. It's like, it's not right to have David do it. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
should
like Shaun owes it to his mother to be the one to
put a big hole through her.
Yeah, to shoot her.
Yeah.
And it's also to protect everyone else because, like,
oh, you have to.
you have to kill the zombie. Like,
Or you could. I mean, I guess at this point they could have chained her up and had her just serve tea.
but yeah. So I think my list of characters depicted as in the wrong, and I stopped kind of like listing in order. It was just like Ed has to be at the top.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Easy.
Was then Shaun.
Yes.
Because I said he takes his life and his loved ones for granted. He has serious trouble showing his loved ones that he cares about them because he barely visits his mom. He doesn't take Liz anywhere except the Winchester. He doesn't follow through on his promises to anyone, but especially to Liz.
And he does love them.
Right, but he has trouble
Yeah.
getting over his just like lethargy and apathy to actually make it known. David, the guy who's still in love with Liz, he's just
Insufferable.
awful.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out with any of them except Liz and, like, maybe Shaun sometimes. I guess Diane's fine.
I would hang out
like-
with Shaun
yeah,
at the bar.
I
Yeah.
like Diane.
Yeah, Diane's fine, but David sucks. Like, he's at, like, an Ed level of, like, I'd be like, wow, 2 of the 3 guys in this room are the most insufferable people I've ever met in my whole life. But David also has this, like, holier-than-thou
Oh, yeah.
aspect where I'm like, Ed's a piece of shit and knows he's a piece of shit and doesn't care. But David thinks he's like this paragon of like, I'm just looking out for Liz and I'm just looking out for everybody and
And he's
I'm the
also-
responsible, mature one. But it's like, you didn't do anything but like shit on everything Shaun tried to do.
And also, he's also failed at showing his loved one that he cares about her.
Absolutely.
And he tries to like seize power over the group when Shaun is still out.
And everyone just goes, no.
Yeah, everyone's like, absolutely not. Well, it's like, because of course not. If there was going to be a second, like, after Shaun, it'd be Liz.
Yes.
Obviously.
For sure.
Like, she's the competent one. Yeah, and then I said Barbara, which is his mom, because she's too repressed and too just like, also she is the character who's been bitten by a zombie
And
and
hides
doesn't
it.
say anything. And that's a big...
It's a big
That's a
no-no.
big no-no. That's a big mark against any character.
In the,
And I'm like, just because you're sweet and like whatever doesn't mean you're good. And it's like, I think Barbara, like you could have done more to help Shaun and Philip's relationship. I think she was kind of
she's
like,
so passive. I mean, that you
yeah,
can
she's so
see-
passive where I'm just like kind of disgusted by
Yeah.
her.
You can see
for
where Shaun gets it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Is
Yeah.
this just like inability to like speak up and like
Yes.
do something,
Also,
right?
Right.
Bitch got herself bit by being stupid.
She was so stupid.
So
She's
stupid.
she's maybe the stupidest character.
Oh, she definitely is.
Like she just, but I think it's like extreme to a point that it's supposed to be comedic, right? Like,
well,
it's,
and that is funny because she's like, oh, I swear, Bob and Linda or whatever live around here.
yeah,
And I
then
laughed
she
and was
sees-
outraged.
And then she sees someone who isn't either of those people she mentioned, like obviously a zombie, and she's like, huh. And then she like goes over there, I guess.
Do we think?
And gets
Do we
bitten.
think her husband was drugging her?
no,
No.
what?
Well, I have no other excuse for her. Well, she's so passive and so
Well,
just like
Some
not
bitches are just
People
all
are
like
like
that.
that.
Some people are just like that.
Also, from what I understand, British people tend to be very repressed.
yes.
They're not going to say the things they think or feel.
I think that they are
There's-
supposed to be sort of a classic, older, repressed British couple.
Yes, that's how I read them.
Because like there is,
It's like in A Fish Called Wanda.
I was gonna say,
Okay,
as someone who watches a lot of British comedy, A Fish Called Wanda is one of my favorite movies. Like
Oh,
it
I
is probably
love
the
that
funniest
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Movie.
It's so good, and the John Cleese like and Wendy.
Yes, and their daughter Portia. Do shut up, Portia.
Oh, Porsche, do shut up. I love that movie so much. But yeah, it's like an archetype of sort of like the like upper middle class, sort of like well-to-do, not posh, but like sort of, yeah, just like, let me put on a pot of tea. Like,
yes.
Don't talk about anything.
And part of your social currency in that society is never acknowledging anything bad. Just never, like, don't deal with problems because they don't exist because we don't talk about it. And we lose face if we ever address that anything is actually wrong.
It's rude.
It's rude.
Yeah.
It's not done.
And so
I'm like, Barbara, I mean, she was obviously heightened because it's a comedy, but I was like, I mean, and not just in England. Don't get me wrong. There's people like this everywhere.
But they're especially
yeah,
the worst in England.
Yeah, but I was just like, fuck you, Barbara. Like, I still, like, am entertained by her and, like, very sad for Shaun when she dies.
Well, she's like a nice person.
Yes.
But it's all, yeah.
You can love stupid people, so.
I don't, but
oh, okay.
I'm sure some people do. If you're
Good
listening
to know you don't love me.
No, I do. But if you're listening to this and you're stupid.
If you're that stupid, look.
Well.
if there's a zombie apocalypse, I want to be the roommate in the scenario. I want to get
upstairs
bit.
roommate?
Yes,
yeah.
I want to get bit without knowing what's happening. And then I go to sleep. And I wake up dead. Yeah. And I don't know and I go into the shower and I just stand there for presumably 15 hours.
Yeah.
And that's
you're right. He is.
That's goals.
Mm-hmm. That's goals.
I don't want to deal with the stress of watching my loved ones die or be zombies that I have to kill.
Right.
Honestly, sounds like a nightmare. Wouldn't want to do that personally.
Okay.
But that being said, if there is a zombie type situation and one of you knows you're infected, stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't go in the closed-in building with me.
No.
Exactly. Ugh.
There's a...
Because it happens in almost every zombie movie. There's, someone has been infected and, like, doesn't disclose it.
Well, this movie is, again, it's like a satire of zombie movies while still functioning within the genre.
Yes.
And so it needed that. Like, it needed the character that...
You have to hit that beat, because...
At this point, she knows it's not good to get bit. You know, she saw what happened to her husband. She knows there's zombies around. She pretends to be a zombie at one point in an iconic scene where she does such a bad... I love when
the acting lessons with Diane when she's like, let's all work on being zombies.
She's like, Barbara, and she's just staring off. She's like, oh, it's good. And
she goes, excellent work.
Oh, sorry, what? I was miles away. It's like so funny.
Oh, it's so funny.
And then when they're all walking in a line, she's the worst one. She's just like... looks just so frazzled.
Right, but since she is kind of a little dead-eyed and slack-jawed.
I think that this
normally,
movie has a lot to say about British people.
It does.
But yeah, like it's an archetype for a reason. It happens in like every zombie movie and TV show. Like it's a thing.
Oh yeah.
Even in a Weird Al song, bring it back to Weird Al, that I really love, his song Tacky. To the tune of Happy, where he goes,
I love that one.
If I get bit by a zombie, I'm not telling you.
That is such a good song.
Yeah.
It's a great music video too. It's one of
is.
those one take kind of music videos. It's really fun.
So good.
But like, yeah, it's tacky. Don't be that way. So I think Barbara deserves her spot on your list. If not, maybe being above David. But David is so annoying that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I have a section about Philip, but I did not say that he's depicted as being in the wrong.
I think Philip
because he's really not. I mean, not that he was perfect, and obviously, like, I'm sure there's a reason why Shaun feels that way about him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure Philip could have been more welcoming and not chased him around the garden with a bit of wood. That's what they say, and I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know, just like what bit of wood? Is it part of a fence? I need more.
You need more context.
I need more context. Oh, well, one of the worst things Shaun does is when he's trying to turn Barbara against Philip so they can, like, ditch or kill Philip. And he's like, Philip touched me when I was a child. And she just, like, stops and just, like, looks at him. Like she probably knows that it's not true, but, like, she has to, like, take it seriously.
Yeah.
And Shaun caves in a second.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, such a disgusting thing to say about someone.
Yeah.
Who did not do that, who did not touch you or anyone.
Presumably that was not the wood.
No, right.
Sorry, Sam.
It's okay.
Yeah, that was just like, I was like, oh my God, Shaun. That's so horrible to do.
Well,
don't be making false accusations.
Yeah.
He's like, as we said, he's already kind of like not grown up, right? Like a lot of this movie is like, you need to grow up. You need to grow up. And I think a lot of people, when they're around their parents, regress back to being kind of their teenage self.
I agree.
And for him, they established that he was like 12 when his mom got married to Philip. And it's like, he's been around like for over half of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and presumably he wasn't warm, but he wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
At no point do they really establish that he was that bad. I mean,
he was comfortable enough to show up at Shaun's work to say, hey, why don't you do this? So he knows where Shaun works. He tried to go.
He's not trying to isolate Shaun from his mom.
Right.
He's trying to do the
He's
opposite.
trying to bring them together, exactly.
That's definitely a character I see differently as an adult.
Yeah.
Because I think casting Bill Nighy in that role is very purposeful because he can play a really good sort of villainous character.
Yes. Like, before we really learn more about Philip, he does seem kind of villainous just because of who he's played by.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I also said that he's also one of the only characters, or maybe it's the first instance where like he can face reality. Like once he's been bitten in the car, like he knows that it is over for him, and that's why he takes that opportunity to say to Shaun what he always wanted to say. I'm sorry, like all I ever wanted was to make you feel welcome. Like I guess I let you down, but I've always cared for you, Shaun. So sweet.
Maybe.
So yeah, I like Philip a lot.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but like
but
I like him a lot.
But I will also say, repressed parents, don't wait until your deathbed to say that shit.
I agree.
Like, come on, grow the fuck up.
Yeah,
like, have a
seriously.
conversation with your loved ones. Like, if you really feel like you care about someone, just tell them.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Don't wait until you're dying in front of
Because
them.
you could just get hit by a bus, and
never
then you
get to
never
say-
got to say any
never
of
get
that
to say it.
stuff.
So he's not completely off my shit list, but he is a product of being British,
Yes,
which is, I'm assuming very hard to be.
I assume. They don't
don't
seem to be
know.
having a great time.
I shall out myself now, but 23andMe said I'm very much Western European.
Yeah, what percentage?
A large percentage.
But Western European isn't necessarily the same as Anglo.
It was
No, but it was
UK.
pretty-
It was
It
pretty
was UK?
specific to.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you're more British than I am. I have 0% Anglo.
And West African, to be clear.
What?
Just as a reminder.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
As I must bring up anytime someone talks about 23andMe, I took 23andMe and came back as literally 100% white. They don't show that in the commercials. Like, not anything outside of literally Europe. Like,
They don't show that in the commercials.
they don't.
They don't.
They really
That's true.
don't. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Like, I didn't really expect much, but
maybe more than
maybe literally more than 50% Ashkenazi Jew and 50%, literally it just said like Western European, but specifically like this region of Germany. It's like, cool, I'm like the most inbred person of all time. Except, I mean, I'm not like
There's
a
probably
Habsburg.
more.
Unfortunately, I'm
people.
sure it gets much more inbred from there.
So I guess I shouldn't talk about British people, but you can.
I can.
You can just because your people were oppressed by them.
Yes. You. The
Wow.
Also
the
my
Irish.
people.
Yeah.
Also my people.
You oppressed.
I'm also black. Hello. I will remind you.
Interesting.
Do not.
Really makes you think.
It really makes you think.
So yes, if you somehow have not seen this movie, go for it. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, what the fuck are you waiting
You've
for?
had 20
Another
years.
20 years?
Yeah.
But okay, is it gay?
There's enough like homoerotic like jokes and elements to like Shaun and Ed's friendship where I'm like, it's not totally ungay.
Yeah,
Even though I don't think they're actually gay for each other.
they call each other gay,
But they also call each other babe.
and babe, and they are
Sweet.
comfortable enough in their friendship and that they are secure in that.
Yeah,
And so that's nice.
it is nice. It's not really gay, but it does add like maybe a gay sprinkle flavor.
One first press record
Yes,
out of a box of them.
sure. Yeah, one organ that falls out of your stomach out of the rest of the organs that are in your stomach.
Was it like
What-
5?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was gonna say I'm not a botanist.
I almost thought I'm not
I'm
a
fucking stupid.
Sorry. That took me a second too.
I was like, I'm not a Scientologist.
No, we're all stupid.
Okay, Sam, what kind of scientist are you not?
Oh, all of them?
But how gay is it?
Yeah. I'm
How
trying to
gay
think
is
what I was-
science?
Oh, science is pretty fucking gay.
Science is pretty gay. Let's see. 1 out of how many nightly pints he has.
So we
Oh.
said, so it's a 1 out of a lot. So it's
Yeah.
not very gay, but it's not devoid of gay.
Yes, I think that's safe to say.
What do we loathe? The N-word?
Yeah, but
We all do
I was
loathe the
more-
N-word, by the way. We're coming out, it's very brave. We're coming out on
in
this
regards
podcast.
to this movie, I was more annoyed by that and an eye roll. What did I loathe? I didn't really. I loathe David. I think is the thing anything I loathed most because I actually did like the movie. But Brett, did you loathe the thing about this movie you love and would give 6+ stars out of 5?
No. There's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing I loathe about this movie. I fucking love this movie. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the only thing I loathe about this movie is that while we do still get funny horror movies, I'd like to see horror movies that are this funny, that are this meticulously crafted. Because there are some
Yeah.
really funny ones that come out, but they're a little bit more quippy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
the
over
laughter's forced.
not always, because I do think Freaky was like legitimately funny. I do think like
I also, yeah, that
Ready
one's
or
good.
Not is like
Mhm.
legitimately funny, but they're not as like clever.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
We said it all. There's
where
no
can-
more things to be said.
Yeah. Where can people find us, Brett?
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you, Brett. You can find us on Instagram at Queer and Loathing Pod, where you can also find our link tree, which I know about because I'm a botanist. You can email us.
And a paranormal investigator and a hair analyst.
Thank you, and more besides. Stay tuned. Tune in
And
next week.
Irish and Scottish. Just
true.
like Cillian Murphy, who was in the zombie movie we were supposed to be watching.
Yeah, wow. It's all coming together, and it's all me. But yeah, you can email us queerandloathingpod@gmail.com. You can find our letterboxd on the link tree that I previously mentioned.
Yes.
And no other places.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't,
Mel doesn't even
I don't
exist outside of
exist.
this room, so
Yeah, I'm not even real.
can't find them.
You can find me on 23andMe if we connect and are genetically related.
Oh my god.
I mean, I think
Put that on the link tree.
I mean, I have to say, I literally found a sister on 23andMe. I told you about this, right?
Oh, yeah, I think you did actually. Yeah.
Like
I don't remember.
actually a half sister.
Wow.
So shit's wild on 23andMe. I found so many relatives from that shit. Have a weird dramatic family and then go on 23andMe and learn some crazy shit. Or don't.
Yeah, or maybe
Because
don't.
she had a really bad time.
And you can't unknow it.
As-
Just know
as
that once you
exci-
find out, you can't unfind out.
As exciting as it was in my life, her whole life got like destroyed. So
Well-
not my fault.
Well, I did confirm that my half sisters are probably my half sisters. So, find your half sister on 23andMe.
But don't do it if you're a serial killer because they do be selling that data.
Oh yeah, that's how they got
the Night Stalker.
Yeah, Joseph
Or
D'Angelo.
the original.
the original
Night
Night Stalker.
Please submit if you are a serial killer.
Yes.
Just gonna put that out there. That's what I did.
But that's why you did it? Because you're a serial killer? Yes.
Oh.
You just kill like goofy, dumpy white guys who say the N-word?
Yes.
Oh.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Well,
Honestly, I'm into it.
I support you in that.
Me too.
Because
you.
I am an ally.
Thank you. I
Wow.
feel it.
Well, with that being said,
I'm queer.
I'm loathing.
And I'm Samantha. Yay.
Sam, you're right.